If we're going to squeeze a small holding into our home garden, then we're going to have to make the best possible use of all space. So our open plan front garden needs to come into play too. It's so exposed to both the elements and prying eyes that we were originally thinking of turning it over to fake lawn, as the real thing is so hard to keep alive in the summer months. Now we've decided that any grass that is staying has to be real because it can feed the animals. As much as possible, nothing should be growing unless it is food or medicine. The front garden was mostly lawn with a few bushes and flowers in a mulched garden bed near the house. The garden slopes down from the house to the road. We considered putting in a retaining wall and fencing the whole garden in, but we discarded this idea as it would have been expensive and not really in keeping with the other houses around us. There seems to be no point in isolating ourselves from the community around us, especially when we plan something a little unusual for suburban living. We liked the natural look of the rocks framing the garden bed, so decided instead to extend that down for more growing area. Approximately the first metre or so of the garden from the road is classed as council or public access. We decided to leave that to grass, along with a central path leading to the front door, as it's easiest to just cut across the garden to the front door anyway. We removed the flowers and some of the bushes, then I laid a weed matting of old magazines, junk mail and newspapers with the mulch on top. It is effective for getting rid of the grass and most weeds, with the exception of soursops. These just work their way along underneath until they find an opening. Due to it being so exposed on the front, I wanted plants that could cope with a little neglect or some tough conditions. The first thing that came to mind was the aloe vera plants, which were sprouting pups everywhere on the back anyway. Herbs seemed like a good choice because many are hardy shrubs which are used to a Mediterranean climate and the birds don't tend to eat them. The other option was trees because we wanted as much room on the back for vegetable growing as possible. We wanted trees that wouldn't need netting to keep the birds out, such as citrus fruits. We've ended up with an almond tree and some fruit bushes too, so I guess at some point we're going to have to display nets on the front. At the moment they're just twigs because it's winter. Like the front, much of the back garden was given over to lawn. There was a garden bed in the middle which had flowers, a rose bush and bird of paradise palm. These all came out and we have grown veggies there for a few years now. The new palm is a banana, but it is yet to fruit. There was a veggie patch to one side of the top lawn, and round the edge of the rest was a gravelled bed with some fruit trees and some bushes. The gravel had to go because in the summer it just collected the heat, and we want only mulches that will break down, eventually fertilising the soil. Getting rid of the gravel is proving to be a hard task though. There's still a lot left, but it doesn't hurt too much in the chicken runs, as they need it for their digestion. The lower garden was all grass, and that has been smothered either by the temporary pool we had for a few years, or the same mat and mulch method used on the front. Every small holding needs some livestock, and the size of ours pretty much dictates that it's going to be poultry, in our case, chickens. Small land space begs for as much dual purpose as possible. We started building large cages in the garden because the local bird population was using it as an all-you-can-eat buffet and leaving nothing but the crumbs for us. Trees you can net, but with the bushes it starts to get a bit much. We realised that sectioning the garden off with cages would work out well for the chickens too. We plan to rotate the crops with the chickens, letting them do some of the fertilising and tilling for us. Moving forward, we plan to make chickens an integral part of the small holding. After all, I'll need all the help I can get, and they positively love weeding and pest control.